And then we finished out the weekend, my daughter and I, by going to the Peaches and Sunflower Festival at Shady Brook Farm. We got there, I guess, kind of late, a little 2:15, I think. And so it's $15 a head to get in. Yeah, I guess it was worth it. But and then you pay $20. Yeah, $20 for a metal bucket that you put sunflowers in, and a smallish bag that can fit inside the metal bucket that you can put all your peaches in, right? But there's no real direction about, okay, how do I get these said peaches and sunflowers? So I was like, yeah, sure. If that's the recommendation, I'll go for it. I've never picked peaches per se, but I have picked apples quite a bit in my day against my will. But I've never like picked sunflowers. That's going to be a trip. And so we get in, Brie goes on the air pillow, which she was very fearful of that because she, I don't even know if I ever talked about that on the pod, but she broke her leg when she was like not even 3, jumping on a trampoline at my sister's place with her bigger cousin. And so now she has like an incredible petrifying fear of trampolines or anything you jump on. And I get it, my man. I freaking get it. You don't tell me twice. So, but with a little cajoling, she got on the air pillow and had some fun. And then we went there was like a playground area where there was like, I don't know if these were mothers or nanny caretaker situation. So I was like, I don't know. Like I said, it's been 3 years. It's just like, I'm getting like a provocative nanny vibe from you people, but you're all married with husbands, right? Okay, cool. You just don't. What's happening? What's going on? Like it's odd to think that like I had my child late. No, I didn't. I mean, we had me in particular. I was old. I was almost 38 when we had our daughter. So like to see in most of America where it's not like a city, metropolitan area, people get married and have kids fairly younger, right? On average. So like to see a woman in her mid to late 20s or early 30s, like chasing little rugrats around, it's like, ew. And you're not like, you're a cool mom. All right, cool. What am I saying? Yeah. But there's the Peaches and Sunflower Festival. So she plays on the playground for a little bit. We then go to the bouncy house. She didn't want to go down the giant slide. I feel like slides are another big fear of hers. I don't know why. Because we never really, as far as I know, I've never had an accident on a slide. I know my sister had like some kind of crazy accident when she was 4 or 5 on a slide. Like we thought she was concussed. That was pretty rad / scary. I was like, okay, that's when I first found out, okay, don't let her fall asleep. Got it. So went to the bouncy house. There was a mother there that turned to me and was like, boys, am I right? They're so rough. And I'm like, how do I say this? Like, I know I'm a man. I used to be a boy. That was a long time ago. I don't have all of a sudden I'm like, all I had to say was, yep, boys are rougher than girls. This is like literally all I had to agree to. And instead, I went through this rabbit hole in my mind of like, well, I'm going to have to explain to her that I don't have a son. And I don't think I'll have a son. It's not in the cards. And then like, I have to follow that up with, well, it's not because I'm no longer married. And I don't know if I'm going to meet someone. Like you just start going down this entire path of conversation that's not happening. It's not happening. Just fucking say, yeah, dude. Yeah, boys are rougher than girls. And so I did, but it took me it felt like 5 minutes to say, yes, you're correct. Even though I only have a daughter. So I've heard boys are rougher. Yeah. And then I had to like grill the high school kid that was working the bouncy house about like, hey, how am I going to get these peaches and sunflowers? Like where does that come into play? Because I don't see any peaches. I don't see any sunflowers. And so she was like, well, you have to catch the wagon. And the last wagon is at 4. And if you miss that, like you can't walk between the fields, which is like, I get it, I guess security concern. So once my daughter came off the bouncy house, it was like, it's wagon time. So we go on the wagon after getting her water and I feel like, yeah. So we get on the wagon, it's packed. Wagon stops and we go to pick the peaches first, and it's just this whole experience was just it was mostly just women Instagramming. That's all it was. It was just one big Instagram photo opportunity, photo op for all these women looking to like really floss and flex on IG. That's all it was. Like I was like trying to actually look for peaches and pick out the best ones, and there's a woman like sticking your head between the branches, like, okay, go take the picture. Like, you know. And to be honest, we picked a pretty healthy peck, I guess it's called, of peaches. Peck of peaches. Peter Piper pecked a pika pucka pucka. And I mean, Bree's pretty good. And I don't know if it was like the time we spent picking strawberries down in South Carolina, but I think it might have helped because she picked out some winners. And I think I did as well. Although a lot of them are not your typical like reddish orangey color. They're mostly like, they look like Granny Smith apples almost. And I brought them home and I washed them and I put a little vinegar in the little solution there to make sure like, okay, we're going to completely make sure these are good to go. And then pull them out and like, they look dirtier. How's that possible? I don't know. They're all rock hard though. How long does it take for you guys to soften up? What's going on? So the peaches were good or fun. And then we went across the sunflower picking area, and that I talked to a woman, and I know this is not her fault, and I'm not. There's no one. It's not a blame type thing. It's just like what the hell. The low talking situation, low talkers, like my hearing fucking sucks, you know, tinnitus and whatnot. But like if you're a low talker, I get so frustrated. So she was a low talker, and I guess I was like, hey, how does this work? And she goes, I was like, yeah, sure. I heard none of that. Okay. So and there's like a maze type situation. I wasn't sure if I can walk down the rows. They're pretty tightly packed. But again, it was all women like just with sticking their head through sunflowers. Like, look at me, Instagram, jealous. So and one thing that I think they probably should have warned you about or us about on the website, in person, when you buy the tickets, whatever. The fucking bees, man. They're bees all over these sunflowers. All over. It's redonk. Like I'm supposed to, and lo and behold, like a cool 15 minutes before we're picking the sunflowers, maybe 20 minutes, when we're at the bouncy house, I can hear, because the teenager working the bouncy house has a radio on, and over the radio, all I can hear is like, yeah, she's allergic, and she's behind the chalk truck. The chalk truck, she's behind the chalk truck. Dude, gold 5, can you respond to red 6? Are you in the area? Blue 8. You know, he's just like using all these code names to get everyone to this person who I didn't put two and two together. I was like, oh, she's allergic. Like she didn't know she's allergic to sunflowers, or like she didn't know she was allergic to peaches. I don't know. It could happen. You don't know until it happens, right? So I was like, oh, she's allergic to something, like peaches or sunflowers, one of the two. And it's like, yeah, I just see all these workers, staff just running towards past me at the bouncy house. There's like a truck called the chalk truck where you can draw. It's got a big blackboard on the side of it and you can draw on it, although no one was drawing on it. And I guess this person was behind the chalk truck, and you just see like people, all these, I almost got ran over by a friggin' golf cart. Like it's just all these employees and staffers and golf carts just like speeding to this one area. And I was like, holy fuck, what the hell's going on? Like, is this person going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall when his helmet comes off on Mars? That kind of situation. And it turns out, then I start seeing all these bees on the sunflowers, and I put two and two together, and I'm like, oh, fuck. This woman got stung by a bee. She's allergic to bees. That's what's going on. I saw them loading her into the ambulance when we're getting on the wagon. And I was like, oh, boy. And my only assumption here is like, there's no way you can know that you're allergic to bees, approach those sunflowers, see the bees, and go through with it. Not a chance. So she probably had no idea, has never been stung by a bee, and didn't know she was allergic to bees. Because if she knew she's allergic to bees, what the fuck are you doing there? Get the hell out of there. So hopefully she's okay. I mean, I hope she's okay. I don't know. But yeah, that was like a serious pain in the ass to carry around those peaches and sunflowers. Though it was, yeah, I think I have carpal tunnel. Of course, I had to hit up the sports zone, as they call it, where it's literally like baseball throwing station, basketball shooting station, football throwing station. I was like, I just need to get through. Like, just let me throw one for each hole that there is, and we can go. Like, I cannot not participate in that. So we kind of rushed through the last 2 or 3 things. There was like an obstacle course that she went through for a while there, which was nice. But from the moment I got the sunflowers and put them in the bucket and filled them with water, I was like, all right, well, the bee time's over, right? Like the bees, they only go to sunflowers that are connected to the soil. Like they don't, once they're cut, the bees are like, ew, gross. Like, you know? And no, those bees still are having at it pretty hard. So I was like, the whole time I'm like fearing, I'm just trying, well, you can't fear because they smell fear, right? So I was like, all right, breathe, in and out. But like, you know, there was we get in line for snacks and there's this like the quintessential, I mean, I can't say what I'm about to say about this kid, but it's just like, he's going to grow up to be a gambler. I'll just put it that way, like a degenerate gambler. And he's behind us in line at the snack shack or whatever. And he's like, oh, there's bees. And I'm like, and thinking to myself, was the sunflowers were a mistake? We know that because like wherever I take these, I'm basically just bringing bees to people wherever I go. Like, hey, want some bees? And so this kid was like, oh, bees. And so I'm trying to like not listen to the kid as he freaks out that there's bees everywhere. I can't believe it hasn't stung Brie yet. I thought for sure that was going to happen. That's like a minus 1,000 bet. And so we're walking over to find a place to sit so she can eat her Doritos. And there's this couple and the couple's like, oh, hey, where'd you get those peaches and sunflowers? Like they came off as either you are extremely naturally chill or you are high AF. I'm going to go with high AF. And she's like, where'd you get those? I was like, oh, well, there are fields back there. The only way you can get to them is if you get on the wagon. Problem is the last wagon was at 4 and it's now, it's almost 5. So I'm really sorry. And she was like, can I buy one off you? And I was like, oh, in my head, I'm trying to do like price points. Like, okay, I know I paid $20 for the bucket and the peaches, but it said it's $3 a stem. I picked 8 flowers at $24. Should I just charge her $3 a stem? No, that feels kind of. And eventually the guy stepped in and was like, no. What are you talking about? It's like, oh, thank God. I was like, I'm willing to sell them to you. They have no sentimental, like she doesn't give a shit. My daughter doesn't give a shit. So like, I'm cool with it. It's like, now I got to start doing math in my head. And that's when they were like, okay, well, before your head explodes, we're going to walk away. But it was overall a good time. We were there for about 3-ish hours. So, I think she had a good time. She's into games and animals. And it's like a lot of these places I've been taking her don't have games or animals or animals that you can pet. Like they have a goat pen or whatever, pen with the goats, but like you need 50 cents to put in the gumball machine that has the goat feed to feed them. And I was like, I don't have any change. I don't have any change. She's like, yeah, but I want to feed them. I was like, I don't have any change. She's like, Dad, I want to feed them. She's into like repeating herself as if I don't hear her the first 10,000 times. I hear you. I cannot make this happen. And then my time with her to cap things off, we went to the pool a couple times, but the second time, by the way, pool doing much better. Very murky and cloudy last time where I could not see my hand in front of my face. This time it's a crystal clear. So they must have figured it out. The lifeguard was different this time. The lifeguard, long blonde hair, firm jawline, bigger type person, muscular type person, tall, masculine features. My daughter looks at the lifeguard, points at the lifeguard, and asks me, "Is that a boy or a girl?" And loud enough for this friggin' dude to hear. I'm sorry, this person to hear. And in my head, I'm like, if this were like 10, 20, 15 years ago, I would just be like, it's a boy. I'm 100% sure that's a boy. But it's like, I mean, Pride Month was a couple months ago. Like Bud Light isn't it trans people now? It's just like, what is the response I'm supposed to give here? And I know, like, I'm a simp, a basic simp cuck. I get it. It jarred my brain. My brain froze glitched. I was like, well, you shouldn't. I think my response I was gonna go with was, you shouldn't assume gender. But I was like, this is clearly a dude. But I was like, you can't assume. Like I was gonna say you can't assume gender. I was like, that sounds so stupid. And I just ended up going with, sometimes boys have long hair and girls have short hair. Boom, mic drop. And I don't know if that dude appreciated it, but I was like, guy, I'm in a pretty tough spot here. Because odds are you are a guy just being a guy. But what is the 1% chance that you are in fact identify as a woman? You're a she, her, she, sure, he, sure, she, her. And I've thoroughly offended and pissed you off because I assumed you're a guy. What are the odds? Because you're on the younger side. You're Gen Z, and Gen Z is all about it. So, okay, boomer. That's life.